War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back. We have Jenny Beth Martin. Jenny Beth, we're crammed today because we've got so much things on getting this closing on the big victory President Trump had on the 3rd. But I got to ask you, since you're the co-founder of the Tea Party Patriots, head of the Tea Party Patriots, which you guys came in with, hey, we got to stop the spending. We're bleeding out for the next generations. What are your thoughts? It's $2.6 trillion, a combo platter of an appropriations bill, I guess a defense bill, defense authorization, and just a little tip, $900 billion. 900, they kept it right under a trillion because they didn't want to say they passed another $1 trillion. 2.6 trillion. Jenny Beth, what is the Tea Party Patriots' kind of official position on this?
This is a horrible bill. It shouldn't be passed at all. The best thing.
So the president. By the way, you're one of the president of the United States' his closest allies. You're one of the co-heads of his team down in Georgia fighting this thing. The president started. The theory of our case is we're into the second term. We got a bonus period here. Should Donald J. Trump, somebody that you're close to, somebody that you're on his team, should he veto these?
Well, I think even if he vetoes it, it would be overridden in Congress. So I don't know that he
but you don't think he should because of that?
Here's the most important thing I think that needs to happen for our country is that we need to reopen our country. We need to start living again and understand that life has risk. But one of the riskiest things in the world
I love you.
we can
Jenny
do
Beth,
is
Jenny Beth,
try
I love
to
you. I love you.
micromanage
Hang on,
people's lives.
Jenny Beth, we're the War Room, baby. I love you, but we can't spin here. I want to go back to the question from the Tea Party Patriots. Knowing somebody that has President Trump's, you guys are populist, you guys have been here from the beginning. This is what the Tea Party Patriot came out of. So you're telling me you don't think he ought to veto it because it'll be overridden, but we ought to reopen the country and not worry about the spending?
No, I care about the spending. I absolutely care about the spending. I'm looking at, you're right, it's not spend, Steve. So the fact is, even if he vetoes it, I think that Congress would turn around and override that veto. We're going to get this horrific spending no matter what we do. It's terrible. As Rand Paul was talking about, money does not grow on trees. Someone is going to have to pay. We are paying for it right now, and we're going to have to continue paying for it. The states that opened where the economy is not suffering as much now are stuck paying for the states with the tyrannical governors who closed. It blows my mind how much money is in this bill.
Just real quickly, I just throw this out to you. Do you think Rand Paul, the Freedom Caucus, or guys are worried about spending and not into monetary theory? Do you think you guys have put forward a counter narrative of really a plan that people can kind of get their hooks in and say, hey, I don't want that because I see the spending's all over the place, but I see the alternative plan. Do you think enough work has been done on an alternative that people can actually get their arms around?
I can't say that necessarily has been done, Steve, but the fact is, since the night of the election, I have been working on all of these other things related to trying to prevent the election from being stolen. And the money is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. If we stray from a constitutional republic where each person's vote no longer makes any difference at all, then the money is almost a sideshow. In my opinion, the Constitution, if we don't adhere to that, we've got so many more problems. So I'm fighting to defend the Constitution and to make sure we expose what happened in this election and try to right the wrong. With
this report, Jenny Beth, with this report, what do you think citizens out there, members of the Tea Party Patriots, Georgians, what should they do about approaching the legislature and Governor Kemp? What are you recommending today?
Well, what I would say is call your Republican members of the Georgia state legislature and remind them that the Constitution gives them the authority to call themselves back into session and to correct this problem. They'll sit there and spin you some stuff saying they can't do it without a 2/3 majority, but the rules in the state do not trump the Constitution. The Constitution is ahead of that. And then also, I would be melting the phone lines and sending emails to Kemp, getting on his Facebook page and his Twitter Twitter and saying, hello, have you looked at the evidence at this point? I mean, 2.5 weeks ago, he didn't have the evidence. The Secretary of State had complaints, but the governor did not. He's had it now. He's had time to read it. He should be looking at this, paying attention to the hearings that have happened in both the State House and the Senate. It's time to call a special session. Quit trying to hide and not do it. It's time to call it.
Jenny Beth, what's your Twitter and Parler handle? How do people get to you during the day? You got to sign up for Jenny Beth since she's in the heart of this fight down in Georgia. What is it?
It's Jenny Beth M, as in Martin.
Jenny Beth, Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming on. Jenny Beth Martin, co-founder of the Tea Party Patriots. Mr. Raheem Kassam.
I just want to get back into this real quick because I did have a little bit of a rant about this yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think, over the course of yesterday, some people's eyes glazed over about this thing. I think we're just starting to realize just how screwed over people are getting here. And I want to make something very clear because, our lovely Madeline Peltz is on the wreath behind you.
By the way, stop picking on. Okay, I want to thank Madeline Peltz. We would not be the number one podcast in. No,
I agree.
As soon as Madeline Peltz took over the marketing department, as soon as Madeline Peltz started, Madeline, we love you. We do. She pays attention to the show. She pays more attention to the show than you pay attention to it. I got to get you focused every day.
She's got nothing better to do.
No.
Listen.
That's right. She's not running the national pulse.
Exactly.
So
although, Madeline, you're more than welcome.
I got Fredericks and Navarro backed
I understand.
up. So
Sudan, $33 million. Venezuela, $700 million. 135.
I thought Sudan was $700 million.
700 million Sudan, 33 million Venezuela, 135 million Burma. Well, you're throwing me off my game here. Right. Cambodia, 130 million. Nepal, it's just ridiculous.
The geopolitical fight against the CCP, do you think those numbers are justified? These are tough calls.
Not like this.
Okay.
I
think the whole thing, my recommendation, I think the President of the United States, since we're in the second term, veto it, come back to the drawing boards, let the President negotiate, not Mnuchin and these guys, let the President negotiate more cash to the American people and less cash to the corporate interests and this thing of illegal aliens and the H-2B visas and all that. We'll get into more of it later.
Look,
I've got to get. Hang on, we're back.
15 million. Just quickly, 15 million to Pakistan doesn't defeat the CCP.
By the way, Pakistan is a junior partner of the CCP. We just ought to bail on that. We've given them $100 billion since 9/11. It's all wasted.
A nice way for constituents to slam this thing is they passed a voice vote so that they had to pass it overnight, where they had a rule that 72 hours were required so they could read.
Okay,
the bill.
fine. We got to go to John Fredericks. We got Peter Navarro about Michigan. We got John Fredericks. You're on Georgia. You've decamped from your home in Virginia to go down there. You've been there. Are we overselling this committee thing, or is this the beginning of actually getting some legal traction where you can take this and use this to bludgeon recalcitrant politicians who don't want to look at the evidence, the data, and the facts?
Steve, number one, it's great to be on the number one radio and podcast show in America. Thank you for having me live in Georgia. This report that came out by Senator Ligon, which was from a hearing that was done a few weeks ago on a Thursday. He's now got a written report and the evidence, which is now on his website. You can get it on our Facebook page. Just go to Facebook, John Fredericks Show. It's right there. You can download the PDF. This is the bombshell we needed. Now you have evidence. We couldn't get it in any of the courts. Now we have it. This evidence is so compelling. Let me just tell you a couple of things that are in Ligon's report. Go read it on my Facebook page. Number one, the video that was shown, which is indisputable evidence of the election workers telling everybody to leave. You see it right in the video. They leave. Then they take out ballots from under a desk and they count them in the dark. Totally illegal. Number two thing in there, two ladies that came to his hearing that did affidavits that worked for the Board of Education. One of them I know very well, Susie Voiles. She's been with BOE, Steve, for 20 years, has a sterling reputation. She's a 20-year veteran. She did the affidavit. She got fired. What was her affidavit? She said she was given ballots to put in the machines, absentee ballots, that were pristine and not folded. She said that's impossible. You can't get a ballot in an envelope without folding it and have it pristine. That was one of them that got fired. Then a 9-year veteran got fired as well. So they come forward, they get fired. Now, that's basically what Raffensperger's done here. You now have a report that is clean, it's succinct, it details The fraud that took place in the Georgia election, the thousands of votes that shouldn't be counted, that would, had they not been, Trump wins handily. It's now on paper through an official committee that Senator Ligon put out. So what this means is, to me now, Kemp's got the evidence. And Jenny Beth said that earlier. Kemp can say, oh, Secretary of State, hearsay. No, you have direct evidence from your own committee. You need to call a special session. And if he does that,
I want to get up on the screen the Kemp stuff.
Yeah,
keep going. We're taking your lovely visage off, and we're going to put up the Kemp contact information right now. The guy's in Denver.
Here's the number: 404-656-1776. We got 75 million Trump voters. You need to light this up like a Christmas tree. That's his number: 404-656-1776. Email him. Everybody, 70 million emails. Brian.Kemp@georgia.gov. You can also get his Facebook page. Light that up. Facebook.com/GovKemp/. It's all right there. Jot it down. I'm going to put that on my Facebook page and tweet it out. This is the only thing that is going to get this done. This guy's got to feel the heat because he now has the evidence. He's hiding in his basement. You know, he's having a fundraiser tonight in Athens, $250 a plate, $25,000 for the big wig tables for Loeffler and Perdue. They don't care. They're just taking the money. They expect everybody to get out and vote for them because that's what Karl Rove says. There's got to be action. If we can think about the evidence that came out in a 7-hour hearing, if they had 3 days, the evidence would be so overwhelming that the state legislature in Georgia would have to overturn those 16 electors, give them to Trump, and then everything else that the Democrats are doing is going to fall, Steve, and collapse like a house of cards because every one of these states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, they're all the same. All the same things happened. Georgia, if that falls, Trump gets inaugurated on January 20th, Steve.
John, what is your Twitter handle? How do people get access to your show? You're the co-producing partner here of the #1 podcast in America, #1 political podcast. We thank you. All these other massive media operations. Look at the next 25. They're all massive media operations. We are John Fredericks and Real America's Voice. We want to thank our producing partners. John, how do people get access to you?
Just follow me on Twitter @JF Radio Show. Follow me on Facebook. Go to facebook.com, John Fredericks Show. Put that in and follow us there. Also go to our YouTube page, youtube.com, John Fredericks Show. Subscribe. And then also you can download my free app. If you have an iPhone, just go to the App Store. Android, go to Google Play, put in John Fredericks Show. Hit the button. You got John Fredericks and Steve Bannon. Whenever you want, you just hit the button. Best thing to do. Steve, we got to keep fighting. You got we got 75 million Trump voters. If you want to see justice, if you want to fix this, light the phone lines up like you've never done before. Make him feel the heat. We got to get this special session done. If you do that, Trump wins.
Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. John Fredericks, thank you very much. We look forward to maybe having you on this afternoon. We can't get enough John Fredericks. This guy's a fighter, and this is the result of fighting and grinding. You see this. I want also everybody in the audience, #WarRoomPandemic, the live stream, Donald.net for the win. Donald.win. Sorry, Donald.win for the win. Eating nails over there for breakfast. I want everybody to read it first. Read the reports from Creative Destruction Media, National Pulse, all these other stories. Read it, and then go to the governor with your details of why you want it. Okay, short break. The man that caused this, I think, Peter Navarro, with his report, the